I was standing in my home office when I saw the red Tesla pull into our driveway. Bright, shiny, new. The kind of car that announces itself before anyone even steps out. I watched through the window as my stepson, Derek, climbed out with that smirk he always wore when he got something he wanted. My wife, Linda, was right behind him. Her face lit up like it was Christmas morning. I didn't move. I just stood there looking at that car and felt something cold settle in my chest. Derek was 28. He had a job, sort of. Something in marketing that seemed to pay him just enough to cover his rent and his bar tabs. He lived in a condo downtown that Linda had co-signed for 3 years ago. He drove a decent car already. A Mazda. Nothing flashy, but it worked. And now this. I heard the front door open. Voices. Laughter. Linda called my name. "Honey, come see?" I walked downstairs slowly. My knees weren't what they used to be, but I wasn't in a rush anyway. When I got to the front door, Derek was leaning against the hood of the Tesla, arms crossed, looking like he'd just won something. Linda grabbed my arm. "Isn't it beautiful?" she said. I looked at the car, then at Derek, then at her. "It's a Tesla," I said. "A Model S," Derek corrected, like I was supposed to be impressed by the letter. "Fully loaded. Autopilot, premium sound system, the works." I nodded. "That's a lot of car." "It's an investment," he said. "Electric vehicles are the future, you know. Plus the tax credits." "How much?" I asked. Derek blinked. "What? How much did it cost?" He shrugged. "Around $90,000. Give or take." I looked at Linda. She was still smiling, but something in her eyes shifted. Just a flicker. "That's a lot of money," I said quietly. "It's fine," Linda said quickly. "He got a great deal, and he's worked really hard this year." I didn't say anything. I just looked back at the car. It gleamed in the afternoon sun like a trophy. "Well," I said finally, "congratulations." Derek grinned. "Thanks, man. You want to take it for a spin?" "No," I said. "I'm good." I went back inside. "Linda, 2 weeks ago you told me we needed to cut back. You said we were tight on money. You said we should skip the trip to visit my brother because flights were too expensive." Her face tightened. "That's different." "How?" "Because Derek's not us. He has his own income, his own life, and his own $90,000 car." She set the mug down a little too hard. "Why are you being like this?" "I'm not being like anything. I'm just trying to understand how we're too tight to buy plane tickets, but your son can afford a Tesla. He didn't ask us for money." I didn't say he did. "Then what are you saying?" I looked at her for a long moment. Her arms were crossed now, defensive. I knew that posture. "I'm saying it's interesting timing," I said quietly. "Interesting?" "Yeah." She stared at me. Then she picked up her tea and walked out of the kitchen without another word. I sat there alone for a while. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I thought about the last 5 years. He was 22 when we got together, already out of college, already independent. That's what Linda always said. Independent. But independence is a funny word. Derek had moved back in with Linda twice since I'd known him. Once after he quit a job without having another one lined up. Once after a breakup left him emotionally drained. As Linda put it, both times I'd said nothing. It wasn't my place. He wasn't my son. But I paid the mortgage. I paid the utilities. I bought the groceries. The first time Derek moved in, it was supposed to be temporary. 2 months, maybe 3. Linda had asked me if it was okay, and I'd said yes. What else was I going to say? He's her son. She loves him. I understood that. 2 months turned into 7. During that time, Derek contributed nothing. No rent, no groceries, no utilities. He'd wake up around 11, make himself breakfast using food I'd bought, then spend most of the day in his room on his laptop. Linda said he was job hunting, networking, building his personal brand. I'd see him sometimes in the kitchen, eating leftover Chinese food straight from the container, scrolling through his phone. He never offered to clean up, never asked if we needed anything from the store, never even acknowledged that he was living in a house someone else was paying for. When I'd come home from errands or from seeing friends, I'd find dishes in the sink. His dishes. Linda would wash them without comment, like it was expected. I bit my tongue. I told myself it wasn't my business, that Linda would handle it, that Derek would get his act together and move out when he was ready. And eventually he did. He got a job, found a cheap apartment, moved his stuff out. Linda cried the day he left. Happy tears, she said, proud of him for taking this step. I just nodded. The second time was worse. Derek had been dating a woman named Ashley. Linda loved her. Talked about her constantly. About how good she was for Derek, how mature she was, how she was encouraging him to grow. Then they broke up. Derek showed up at our door on a Tuesday night with 2 suitcases and red eyes. Linda brought him inside, set him up in the guest room, and spent the next 3 hours on the phone with him while he cried. I stayed in the living room, watching a game I didn't care about. This time Derek stayed for 5 months. 5 months of the same routine, sleeping in, taking long showers, leaving his laundry in the dryer for days until Linda folded it for him, using my truck without asking because his car was acting up and he didn't want to deal with it. Linda made excuses. He's heartbroken. He needs time. He's rebuilding. I stayed quiet. Because what was I going to say? That I was tired of supporting a grown man who treated our home like a hotel? That I resented coming home to find him on the couch, eating snacks, watching Netflix on the TV I'd paid for? I didn't say any of that. I just kept paying the bills. Linda worked part-time as a consultant. She made decent money, but it was inconsistent. Some months were good. Some months were dry. I'd been retired for 4 years, taken my pension, my savings, my Social Security. I wasn't rich, but I was stable. I'd worked 37 years in manufacturing, steady, reliable. I knew how to manage money, and I'd been managing hours, all of it, because Linda didn't like dealing with bills. She told me that early on. You're better at this stuff, she'd said. So I'd taken it over. Bank accounts, investments, expenses. I didn't mind. I liked things organized. But in the last year, something had shifted. Linda had started talking about money more, about how we needed to be careful, about how things were tight. At first, I didn't question it. Inflation was real. Costs were up. I tightened our budget, cut back on dinners out, canceled subscriptions, put off home repairs. She'd seemed relieved. But then Derek started showing up more. New clothes, new watch, talking about trips to Miami, to Denver, posting photos from expensive restaurants. And every time I saw him, Linda would light up, proud, beaming. I'd felt something then, a small, uncomfortable thought I didn't want to name. And now this car, $90,000. I got up from the table and went to my office. I closed the door, sat down at my desk, opened my laptop. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I knew I needed to look. Each time Linda went outside to admire it, to sit in it, to let him show her the features. Isn't it incredible? She'd say. Yeah, I'd say from the doorway. One evening, Derek stayed for dinner. Linda made his favorite. Lasagna, garlic bread, the works. She spent the whole afternoon in the kitchen preparing it. I offered to help. She waved me off. I've got it, she said. Just relax. So I did. I sat in the living room listening to the sounds of cooking, the oven timer, the clatter of dishes, Linda humming to herself. When Derek arrived, he hugged her at the door like he hadn't seen her in months. It had been 4 days. Smells amazing, Mom, he said. Your favorite, she said, beaming. We sat down to eat. Linda served Derek first. A huge portion. Then me. Then herself. Derek talked the whole meal, about his job, about a project he was leading, about how his boss had pulled him aside and told him he was executive material. That's wonderful, honey, Linda said. Yeah, I've been putting in the work, staying late, going above and beyond. It's about time someone noticed. They'd be crazy not to promote you, Linda said. I cut into my lasagna, said nothing. Derek kept talking, about the Tesla, about how it was the smartest financial decision he'd ever made. Leasing is the way to go, he said. People don't understand that. They think buying is better, but with the depreciation on cars like this, leasing just makes more sense. Plus, I can write it off as a business expense. How? I asked. He looked at me. What? How do you write off a personal vehicle as a business expense? I use it for work, client meetings, site visits. Your job is in marketing. Do you visit clients? Sometimes. How often? He shrugged. Often enough. I nodded. Took another bite. Linda changed the subject. Have you talked to Ashley at all? Derek's face tightened. No, and I don't plan to. I just thought maybe, Mom, it's over. I'm not going back there. I know. I just think she really cared about you. She had a funny way of showing it. Linda reached over and squeezed his hand. You deserve someone who appreciates you. I know I do. I watched this exchange quietly. The way Linda looked at him. The way he soaked up her attention like it was his due. After dinner, Derek left. Linda and I cleaned up in silence. When we were done, she poured herself a glass of wine and sat on the couch. I sat down beside her. He's doing really well, she said softly. Seems like it. I'm so proud of him. I can tell. She looked at me. You don't like him. I never said that. You don't have to. I shook my head. Linda, I don't have a problem with Derek. I barely know Derek. He's your son. You raised him. I'm just an extra person in his life. Her face softened. That's not true. It is. And that's fine. But don't mistake me being quiet for not liking him. I just don't have much to say. She sipped her wine. He's had a hard time, you know. His dad wasn't around much. I had to do a lot on my own. I know. And I just want him to be okay. To be happy. I get that. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Thank you. I didn't know what she was thanking me for, but I didn't ask. Putting them in their right place, making order out of chaos. I heard the mailbox clang shut. I walked out, grabbed the stack of envelopes, flipped through them absently. Bills, junk, a credit card offer. And then I saw it. A large envelope. Official looking. From a bank I didn't recognize. It was addressed to me. I stood there in the driveway, staring at my name on the front. My full legal name. I opened it. Inside was a loan document, a payment booklet, and a letter. The letter thanked me for my recent auto loan approval. It outlined my payment schedule, $1,347 per month for 72 months. I read it twice. Then I looked at the loan details. Vehicle, 2024, Tesla Model S. Borrower, my name. Co-borrower, Linda's name. Loan amount, $87,450. My hand started shaking. I walked back into the house. Linda wasn't home. She'd gone to visit a friend, or that's what she'd said. I sat down at the kitchen table and read the paperwork again. Slowly, carefully. There was my signature, except it wasn't. It looked close. The letters were similar. The slant was right. But I knew my own handwriting. I'd signed 1,000 documents in my life. Loan papers, mortgage papers, tax forms, insurance policies. This wasn't mine. I stared at it for a long time. Then I pulled out my phone, called the bank. A woman answered, cheerful, professional. Thank you for calling. How can I help you today? I received a loan document, I said. I didn't apply for this loan. I'm sorry to hear that. Let me pull up your account, sir. Can I have your name and the loan number? I gave her both. A pause. Typing. Yes, Mr. I see your account here. This loan was finalized 3 weeks ago. The vehicle was purchased on the 15th of last month. I didn't sign anything. Another pause. Longer this time. Sir, we have your signature on file and your co-applicants both verified in person at our branch. Which branch? She told me. It was 20 minutes away, near the mall Linda liked to go to. Who came in? I asked. I'm sorry. I don't have those details in front of me. But the loan was approved with both signatures and income verification. Your employment and income were confirmed as part of the process. I never verified anything. Sir, if you're disputing this loan, I'd recommend coming into the branch to speak with a manager. They can review the file and walk you through the documentation we have on record. I'll do that. Is there anything else I can help you with today? No. I hung up. I sat there, staring at the papers. Linda's name was on it, as co-borrower, which meant she'd signed, which meant she'd known, which meant she'd gone to that bank with Derek and signed my name on a loan for $90,000. I felt something crack inside me. Something that had been holding steady for a long time. Something I didn't know I'd been holding together until it broke. They were blue, patterned with little white flowers. They're nice, I said. I got them on sale, 30% off. Good. She looked at me. You okay? Yeah, just tired. You should rest. I'll make dinner. Okay. I went to my office, closed the door, sat in the dark. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I wasn't going to do it loudly. People in line at the teller windows. A couple sitting with a loan officer in a glass-walled office. The woman at the front desk greeted me with a smile. Good morning. How can I help you? I need to speak to someone about a loan, I said. Of course. Let me get a manager for you. Can I have your name? I gave it to her. She nodded, picked up a phone, spoke quietly into it. A few minutes later, a man in his 40s came out. Navy suit. Firm handshake. Friendly but professional. Mr. I'm Thomas Chen, branch manager. How can I help you today? I handed him the paperwork. I received this. I didn't apply for this loan. I didn't sign these documents. He looked at the papers, then at me. This is an auto loan for a Tesla Model S. I know what it is. I didn't sign it. He frowned. Sir, we require in-person verification for loans of this size. Someone came into this branch with identification and signed in front of one of our loan officers. Who? He hesitated. I can't disclose that without pulling the file. But if your name is on the loan, then you, or someone representing you with proper authorization, completed the process. I never authorized anyone. His expression shifted. Professional. Careful. If you're alleging fraud, that's a serious matter. We'd need to involve our legal department, and potentially law enforcement. I looked at him for a long moment. Let me think about it, I said. Of course. But Mr. Brieux, if this is fraud, time is critical. The sooner we address it, the better we can protect your interests and investigate what happened. I'd strongly recommend filing a dispute as soon as possible. I understand. Would you like me to start the process now? I can pull the file and we can review everything together. Not yet. He nodded slowly. All right, but please don't wait too long. If you decide to move forward, call me directly. He handed me his business card. My cell number is on there. Thank you. I walked out. I sat in my car in the parking lot for 20 minutes. I thought about Linda, about Derek, about the last 6 years. I thought about the life I'd built, the home I'd paid for, the stability I'd worked so hard to create. And I thought about what happened when you let people take advantage of kindness, when you stay quiet because you don't want to cause problems, when you convince yourself that things will get better if you just keep your head down and keep providing. I started the car. I didn't go home. I'd gotten the name from a friend months ago, Bill. We'd worked together for 15 years before I retired. He'd gone through a bad divorce 2 years back. Told me this lawyer was sharp, fair, didn't waste time, didn't sugarcoat. If you ever need someone, Bill had said, call Alan. I didn't have an appointment, but the receptionist squeezed me in. Said Alan had a cancellation and could see me in 20 minutes. I waited in the lobby, watched people come and go, a young couple both crying, an older man with a briefcase looking grim, a woman about my age staring at her phone. Everyone here was dealing with something. I looked up. A man in his mid-50s stood in the doorway. Glasses, graying hair, calm demeanor. I'm Alan, come on back. I followed him to his office. It was neat, organized, shelves full of law books, a desk with 2 chairs facing it. He gestured to one. I sat. What can I do for you? He asked. I told him everything. The Tesla, the loan papers, the forged signature, Linda's name as co-borrower, Derek, the last 6 years. He listened without interrupting, took notes occasionally. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. Do you want to press charges? I don't know. Is your wife aware you're here? No. Do you want to stay married? I didn't answer right away. I don't know that either, I said finally. He nodded. Okay, let's start with what we do know. You have a fraudulent loan in your name. That's identity theft, financial fraud. You can dispute it with the bank, file a police report, and likely get the loan removed from your credit. But if your wife co-signed, and if she knowingly facilitated this, that's a different issue. What kind of issue? Criminal, depending on intent. If she forged your signature with the intent to defraud, that's a felony, but also civil. You could be liable for damages if she acted on your behalf without authorization. The bank will come after someone for that money. Right now, it's you. And the car? If the loan is fraudulent, the car will likely be repossessed, unless someone pays it off. I nodded slowly. What do you want to do? Alan asked. I want to protect myself. From what? From whatever's coming next. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he pulled out a notepad. Let's start with your assets. I need to know everything. Accounts, property, investments, debts, all of it. I just said I was organizing files. Spring cleaning, sort of. She didn't ask questions. She seemed distracted anyway. On her phone a lot. Texting someone. I didn't ask who. Derek came by once during that time. He stayed for an hour. Talked about a work trip to Seattle he was planning. Linda made him lunch. Grilled cheese and tomato soup. The meal she used to make for him when he was a kid, she said. I stayed in my office. At one point I heard him laugh. Loud. Confident. I looked at the loan papers on my desk. And I kept working. I found things I'd forgotten about. Old bank statements showing transfers to Linda's account. Thousands of dollars over the years, always with vague notes. For Derek, help with rent. Emergency. I found the co-signed lease for Derek's condo. Linda had put down the deposit, $3,000, from our joint savings. I found credit card statements with charges I didn't recognize. Expensive restaurants, clothing stores, a weekend trip to Vegas. all on a card in my name that Linda had access to. Small things. Individually, they didn't mean much. Together, they painted a picture. Joint accounts. Joint property. You've been operating as a single financial unit for years. That makes separation difficult, but not impossible. The question is, what do you want the outcome to be? I thought about it. I want what's mine, I said. I don't want to be responsible for what's hers, or his. Then we need to act quickly, before any more debts appear in your name, before any more assets disappear. What do? We file for legal separation. We freeze joint accounts. We partition assets. And we dispute the loan, all at once. It's aggressive, but it protects you. And Linda? She'll be notified. Legally. There's no way around that. She'll have the opportunity to respond, to hire her own attorney, but the faster we move, the better your position. I took a breath. Do it. Are you sure? Yes. Once we start this, it's hard to undo. I know. All right, I'll draft the paperwork today. We'll file tomorrow. I sat in my truck for a moment, staring at the house. Then I went inside. Linda was sitting at the kitchen table. The papers were in front of her. Her face was pale. She looked up at me. What is this? I set my keys down. You read it. Legal separation? Asset partition? You're divorcing me? I'm protecting myself. From what? I walked over to the table, pulled out the loan documents, set them down in front of her. From this. She stared at the papers, her mouth opened, closed. I can explain. You forged my signature. I didn't. Your name is on it, as co-borrower, which means you walked into that bank with Derek, and you signed my name. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Linda? Her eyes filled with tears. He needed help. He needed $90,000. He couldn't get the loan on his own. His credit wasn't good enough. They said he needed a co-signer with better credit and income. So you used mine. I was going to tell you. When? She didn't answer. When were you going to tell me, Linda? After the first payment? After the car was paid off? Never? I knew you'd say no. So you just went ahead and did it anyway. He's my son, and I'm your husband. Doesn't that mean anything? She looked down. Her hands were shaking. How long have you been doing this? I asked quietly. Doing what? Using my name, my credit, my money. I haven't. Linda. She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. Just the car, she whispered. Just the car. Yes. And the condo Derek lives in? The one you co-signed for 3 years ago? That was before we got married. But you're still on the lease, which means if he stops paying, it comes to you. And you and I are married, which means it comes to me. She didn't respond. What about the credit card charges, the trips, the restaurants? Those were for special occasions. They were on my card, Linda. Thousands of dollars. I thought we shared everything. We did. Until you decided my name was just another tool you could use. She stood up. I was trying to help him. By destroying me? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? He struggled. His whole life. His father left. I had to raise him alone. I just wanted him to have a chance. At my expense. I thought you'd understand. Understand what? That you'd lie to me? Forge my signature? Rack up debt in my name? I didn't think you'd find out. The words hung in the air. She realized what she'd said. Her face went white. You didn't think I'd find out, I repeated slowly. I didn't mean, you didn't think I'd find out. Which means you knew it was wrong. You knew I'd be angry. And you did it anyway. She sat back down, covered her face with her hands. I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I'd married, the woman I'd trusted, the woman I'd built a life with. I didn't recognize her. I can't do this, I said. Please, I can't. I walked to the door. Where are you going? I don't know. We can fix this. No, I said. We can't. I left. Every time I'd convinced myself that things would get better, they never did. They just got worse. Slowly, quietly, until I was here, in a motel room, alone, with a wife who'd betrayed me and a stepson who'd taken everything I'd given and asked for more. I called Alan the next morning. It's done, I said. How did she react? Like I expected. And now? Now we move forward. Understood. I'll file the dispute with the bank today. And I'll start the asset partition process. This won't be fast, but it will be thorough. Good. One more thing, Alan said. If she tries to contact you, I know. Document everything. Exactly. Calls, texts, emails. If she shows up in person, stay calm, stay brief, and make a note of what was said. This is evidence. Understood. I hung up. I sat on the edge of the motel bed, staring at the wall. I thought about the last 6 years, about every time I'd said yes when I should have asked why, about every time I'd stayed quiet to keep the peace. I thought about Derek, about Linda, about the life I'd thought we were building together, and I realized it had never been together. It had always been me, supporting, providing, paying, while they took. 1 bedroom, quiet, simple, mine. The landlord was an older woman named Margaret. She didn't ask questions, just handed me the keys and told me rent was due on the 1st. I furnished it slowly. A bed, a couch, a table, nothing fancy, just functional. It felt strange at first, living alone, cooking for one, making decisions without consulting anyone, but it also felt clean. Linda called 47 times in the first week. I didn't answer. She sent texts, long ones, apologizing, explaining, begging. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please let me explain. Derek didn't know about the signature. This is all my fault. I'll fix it. I'll make it right. Please come home. I didn't respond. Derek called once. I answered. You're really doing this? He said. No greeting. No preamble. Yes. You know you're ruining her life, right? No, I said. I'm protecting mine. She's your wife. She forged my signature. She committed fraud. If I wanted to, I could press charges. She could go to jail. Silence. You wouldn't, he said finally. Try me. She did it for me. I needed help. You're 28 years old. You have a job. You don't need help. You need to grow up. Fuck you. Goodbye, Derek. I hung up. He didn't call again. Compared signatures. Reviewed security footage from the branch. Interviewed the loan officer who'd processed the paperwork. The loan officer remembered Linda. Remembered Derek. They'd come in together. Linda had done most of the talking. Said her husband was at work and couldn't make it, but she had his identification and his authorization. She'd shown them my driver's license, the one that had been misplaced months earlier. The one I'd had to replace at the DMV. The handwriting expert confirmed the signature wasn't mine. Close, but not exact. The pressure was different. The flow of the letters. The bank called me with the results. Mr. Abwer, we've completed our investigation. The loan has been declared fraudulent. Your name will be removed from all associated documents, and your credit will be restored. And the car? The vehicle is being repossessed. We've already contacted the current holder of the vehicle. What about my wife? A pause. That's a separate matter. We're forwarding the case to our legal department. They may pursue charges. That decision is above my level. I'm not pressing charges, I said. You don't have to. The bank may proceed independently. I didn't respond. You did the right thing, Mr. I know this must be difficult. Thank you. I hung up. Alan called me later that day. The bank just contacted me, he said. They've cleared you. The loan's been declared fraudulent. Your credit is intact. I know. They called. How do you feel? Relieved. Tired. The Tesla's being repossessed. Derek's credit will take a major hit. Linda's too, since she was the co-signer. I know. The bank might press charges against Linda. They haven't decided yet. I figured. Do you want them to? I thought about it. No, I said. I just want this over. Understood. I'll communicate that to them. But it's ultimately their decision. I know. We were quiet for a moment. The divorce should finalize in about 3 more months, Alan said. Everything's moving smoothly. Linda's attorney has been cooperative. I think she knows she doesn't have much ground to stand on. Good. You're going to be okay, Alan said. I know. He didn't name me, but I knew who he meant. I didn't respond. I just kept moving forward. Clean. I didn't see her at the final hearing. She didn't show. Her attorney said she was too upset. I signed the papers, walked out, drove home, to my apartment, my quiet, small, simple apartment. I made coffee, sat on the couch, looked out the window, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe. Then I blocked his number. Not because I didn't love her, I did, in my own way, but because love isn't enough when respect is gone. And the moment she signed my name, without asking, without telling, without caring, respect was gone. So I did what I had to do. I protected myself. I walked away, and I rebuilt. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, steadily, the way I've always done things. I still live in that small apartment. I still pay my bills on time, save my money, and live within my means. But now it's all mine. No one else's debt, no one else's lies, no one else's expectations. Just mine. And that's enough. It's more than enough. It's everything. About Linda beaming, so proud of him, so willing to do anything to make him happy, even if it meant destroying me. I wonder if he ever thinks about it, if he ever realizes what it cost. Not the money, the trust. I doubt it, but it doesn't matter, because I'm not waiting for him to understand. I'm not waiting for an apology. I'm not waiting for Linda to realize what she lost. I'm not waiting for anything. I'm just living, free, quiet, mine. There are moments when I feel lonely, when I wake up in the morning and the apartment is silent and I remember what it was like to share space with someone, to have coffee together, to talk about nothing. But then I remember the other moments, the tension, the secrets, the feeling of being used, and I realize loneliness is better than betrayal. Silence is better than lies. Being alone is better than being with someone who sees you as a means to an end. Stayed for a weekend. We had a good time. I'm dating again, nothing serious, just coffee here and there. Dinner occasionally. It feels strange, starting over at my age, but it also feels right. Like I'm finally building something that's mine. Not ours, not theirs, mine. And I decided I'd rather spend that energy on myself, on building a life I actually want to live, on being someone I'm proud to be, on setting boundaries and keeping them. I think I would have been miserable. I think I would have felt trapped. I think I would have looked back one day and wondered where all my money went, where all my time went, where all my dignity went, and I would have had no one to blame but myself, because I would have chosen to stay silent. I would have chosen to keep the peace. I would have chosen them over me. But I didn't. I chose me, and that's the best decision I ever made. I sleep better now. I don't wake up in the middle of the night worrying about money, about debts I didn't know existed, about what Linda and Derek are planning next. I just sleep, deep, peaceful, uninterrupted, and when I wake up, I'm grateful, not for what I lost, but for what I gained, myself, my freedom, my peace. But I learned it, and I'll never forget it. You can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. You can't save someone who's determined to sink, and you can't stay with someone who sees you as a resource instead of a person. At some point, you have to choose yourself, even if it's hard, even if it hurts, even if people call you selfish. Because if you don't choose yourself, no one else will. I'm quieter, more careful, more aware, but I'm also stronger. I know my worth now. I know what I will and won't accept. I know that silence isn't always kindness. Sometimes it's cowardice, and I'm done being a coward. Lost the easy life she'd been living on my dime. I'm not surprised by that either, but I don't feel vindicated. I don't feel victorious. I just feel done. Like I've closed a chapter I never should have opened in the first place. Maybe I'll meet someone. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll stay in this apartment forever. Maybe I'll move somewhere new. Maybe I'll reconcile with Linda one day. Maybe I'll never speak to her again. I don't know. And for the first time in a long time, I'm okay with not knowing. Because whatever happens, I'll handle it. On my terms. With my boundaries. With my dignity intact. Probably driving around somewhere with someone else behind the wheel. Someone who actually paid for it, someone who earned it. And every time I think about it, I smile, not because Derek lost it, but because I got free. Just with quiet, unshakable resolve.